From the Chattanooga Tech Studio, welcome to the Marietta Daily Journal podcast. Today is Friday, February 24th, and on this day in 1955, Steve Jobs was born.
Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone.
I'm Matt Golden, and here are your top stories presented by Credit Union of Georgia. A man is dead and his wife is injured after a wreck on I-75 near Bells Ferry Road. Cobb County Christians kicked off the Lenten season with Ash Wednesday services. And the Marietta Blue Devils boys basketball season ended at the hands of Grayson. Plus, we talked to Kevn Kinney, lead singer of Drivin N Cryin, ahead of his Atlanta show tonight and Athens show on Saturday.
What's great about Drivin N Cryin is that it's great for me, but not great for the other guys. They don't know what song is coming next, and they have to know over 120 songs.
Oh, wow.
And they never know what song is coming next. You know, I'm just feeling it, and I'll just start playing it.
We'll have all this and more on the Marietta Daily Journal podcast.
Engineered Solutions of Georgia. We guarantee a stable, dry foundation. With over 30 years of experience and a lifetime of support, residential and commercial. Hey, we do it all. For basement waterproofing and repairs to your foundation. Dial 678 ESOG now.
One person is dead and another is injured after their car left I-75 North near Bells Ferry Road and tumbled down an embankment early Wednesday. 45-year-old Edgar Perez and his wife Blanca Manrique-Rodriguez of Chattanooga, Tennessee were traveling north on the freeway at about 5:30 a.m. when Manrique-Rodriguez, who was driving, lost control of the 2016 Toyota Sienna minivan. The van struck the right guardrail, flipped over it, and tumbled down a large embankment toward Bells Ferry Lane. Perez died as a result of the crash, while Manrique-Rodriguez was transported to Wellstar Kennestone Hospital with serious injuries. The investigation into the crash is ongoing, and anyone with information is urged to contact investigator St. Ange. Deviating from their normal Wednesday morning routines, members of the Catholic Church of St. Anne's gathered to sing, worship, and have a cross of ash marked on their foreheads. The East Cobb Church held 5 services over the day, beginning the 6-week season of Lent leading up to Easter. The season commemorates Jesus Christ's journey into the desert, where he fasted and was also tempted by the devil. At the end of St. Anne's Mass, following the Eucharist, members filed down the aisle to receive the ash ritual. The Reverend Joseph Aquino, who presided over the 9 a.m. Mass, explained that the ashes are a symbol of repentance for Christians. Back in biblical times, people would sit in ashes and sackcloth to express penance. In keeping with that same theme, Christians often forego certain luxuries during Lent, seeking to follow Christ's example. An errant kick in a physical education class made the Grayson boys basketball postseason road more interesting. The Rams' home court flooded earlier this month when a sprinkler hit by a soccer ball during PE poured water on the boards and rendered the surface unplayable until it was replaced. Because of the damage, Grayson entered the state playoffs unable to host despite being a number 1 seed. Archer is now the Rams' home site for the opening rounds of the playoffs, and Grayson looked pretty comfortable in its new setting Wednesday night, riding in efficient offense to a 99-56 rout of Marietta in the Class 7A first round. Grayson will advance to host another game at Archer Saturday at 4 p.m. against Valdosta. The 22-5 Rams put up a season high in points and had 58 points at halftime and 83 through 3 quarters. A total of 13 players scored in the win. Jaden Mann and Jack Bourgeois scored 15 points each to lead Marietta. Todd LeCadre added 10 points. The Devils finished their season 5-25 on the year. The Wheeler boys utilized a big fourth quarter to defeat Milton 81-64 in the first round of the Class 7A state playoffs on Wednesday. The 22-6 Wheeler Wildcats outscored the Eagles 29-19 in the final quarter. The game was tied with just over a minute remaining in the third quarter until the Wildcats went on a 17-0 run over the next 4 minutes. Every point scored on the run came from shots at the basket or by free throw as Wheeler punished the Eagles on fast breaks. The win advanced Wheeler to the second round of the tournament, where the Wildcats will host North Gwinnett on Saturday after the Bulldogs defeated Mill Creek 72-62. Isaiah Collier led the Wildcats in scoring with 28 points, including 12 points in the fourth quarter. Collier was one of 3 Wildcats to break double-digit scoring alongside Ricky McKenzie with 20 and Arrington Page with 12. On the other side of the court, the Eagles were led in scoring by Josh Dixon with 20, including a 10-point second quarter. Seth Fitzgerald and Avery White each added 15 points for Milton.
In Georgia, the weather never ceases to do unpredictable things. Peace of mind should be top of mind where it comes to your heating and cooling system. Dayco Systems has 3 generations of experience with HVAC excellence they've shared with Cobb County and the greater metro Atlanta area. Dayco Systems has been family-owned and operated since they started out, and Dean Yarrington has built their business into what it is today through policies of honesty, responsiveness, and attention to the needs of customers. The Dayco Systems team is equipped with the knowledge, tools, products, and over 4 decades of experience that help them get each job done right the first time, and they back that up with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Along with exceptional service, Dayco Systems provides free estimates on new heating and AC installations, and you can reach them after hours when you have an HVAC emergency. Get peace of mind. Call Dayco Systems today at 770-209-2261 or visit them online at daycosystems.com. Dayco Systems, a premier train comfort specialist. Right now, take $500 off a complete system.
You deserve better than your bank. Better service, better rates, better solutions. If you live or work in Cobb County, now is the perfect time to make the switch to Credit Union of Georgia, the better way to bank. Since 1960, Credit Union of Georgia has been providing Northwest Georgia with financial solutions that make sense for your home, business, and family. As a homegrown, not-for-profit cooperative, our members are our mission. Not only will you get the best loan rates, you'll get personalized customer service from people who understand your needs. Plus, Credit Union of Georgia provides real convenience with a network of more than 30,000 accessible ATMs and branch locations across the country. Of course, there's also 5 locations right here in Cobb County. Ready to see how much better your banking can be with Credit Union of Georgia? Become a member today or apply for a loan online by visiting cuofga.org. Credit Union of Georgia, the better way to bank.
You belong among the wildflowers. You belong in a boat out at sea. Sail away.
Smyrna has announced the dates for its annual Jonquil Festival. Here's community reporter Doug Harding with more.
The 34th Annual Smyrna Spring Jonquil Festival, presented by the City of Smyrna and Superior Plumbing, will be April 29th and 30th in and around Smyrna City Hall and Market Village. The free admission festival will feature over 175 arts and crafts booths, 20 food booths, an entertainment stage, multiple beer gardens, and a variety of children's activities. Peter Hart of Atlanta Puppetry will have unique marionettes and puppet characters that sing, dance, juggle, play fiddle, break apart, and come back together, squirt water, and are even launched by catapult across the stage. Scott Thompson will perform all the songs you know and love on Veterans Memorial Grand Lawn adjacent to the Spring Jonquil Food Court. The Georgia Grown Member Market will feature goods and products from all over the state of Georgia. There will also be an interactive kids zone with inflatable slides and bounces. Hours are April 29th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and April 30th from noon to 5. Due to construction on the Village Green, layout and placement will be different this year. For more information, please visit smyrnacity.com. For the Marietta Daily Journal podcast, I'm Doug Harding.
I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. Well, it's a long, long journey to the capital city. It's a long, long wait while I'm sitting in committee.
A Senate committee voted Wednesday to advance Senator Kay Kirkpatrick's bill to limit passport fee receipts by Georgia clerks of court. As the East Cobb Republican noted, the operative word is now limit rather than eliminate. An earlier version of the legislation would have barred clerks from receiving personal income from processing U.S. passport applications, which is currently allowed under Georgia law. The latest version of the bill would cap their income from passport fees at $7,500 a year. Senate Bill 19 was filed after media investigations into Cobb Superior Court Clerk Connie Taylor, who has pocketed more than $425,000 in fees since taking office atop her annual income of $170,000. Federal regulations allow local officials who process passport applications to charge a $35 fee for their trouble, while Georgia law permits county clerks to do so to keep the money as personal income. The practice is widespread across the state, but Taylor's proceeds drew scrutiny from Republican lawmakers who pledged to put an end to the supplementary income. Taylor, meanwhile, is facing a GBI probe following allegations she ordered the destruction of records of her passport fee income. Kirkpatrick's version of the bill then carried with bipartisan support. Democratic Gwinnett County State Senators Nikki Merritt, Sheikh Rahman, and Nabila Islam, the latter of the two from Lawrenceville, were the three votes against. Kirkpatrick told the MDJ she hopes for a full vote by the Senate next week.
Correct. I am the smartest man alive!
36 of Cobb County's finest minds will be celebrated for their achievements on Tuesday evening at the annual Star Student and Teacher Banquet, sponsored by the Kiwanis Club of Metro Marietta. The STAR, or Student Teacher Achievement Recognition Banquet, recognizes high school seniors with the highest SAT scores and grade point averages from public, private, and charter schools across Cobb and Marietta. The STAR program was launched in 1958 by Georgia Chamber of Commerce and was adopted by Metro Marietta Kiwanis in 1966. This year's banquet, scheduled for 6 p.m. at Roswell Street Baptist Church, is expected to attract more than 200 people. Students who are honored bring family as guests and will also get to select a STAR teacher from their school to be honored. The keynote speaker for this year's event is Candace Presley, a journalist for WSB Radio and a Marietta High School graduate. Please head over to mdjonline.com for a list of Cobb STAR students and teachers. And now, Kevn Kinney, the lead singer and guitarist for Drivin N Cryin, joins us to talk about his upcoming shows in Atlanta and Athens.
Appreciate everybody tuning in. My name is Doug Harding, and it's so great to have, I guess, come a local musical legend, Kevn Kinney. You know him from Drivin N Cryin. Also, his solo work, and currently Think About It tour. Kevn, you're doing some Drivin N Cryin dates also, right?
I've been doing, me and Amy Ray are out there doing it right now. We have 2 more shows this weekend, and we just did like Texas and Louisiana and Mississippi, Alabama, and we did Nashville last Saturday or Sunday, and then we're going to do Athens and Atlanta this weekend, and so we're excited. You know, it's a really great show, and I know a lot about a lot of my friends' music, but it's when you get to open, you really get to like drink in the entire experience. You really get to, you have a good opportunity to like really listen. And I think both of us are like getting turned on by all of our, I mean, she's seen me play, of course, but I don't think she's really seen like, as many shows in a row ever. And we've been on tour, and so she's just got a great band, and her songwriting is really great. And she's, just really flooring me every night. She's driving the van, she's backing up that trailer. There's, it's not a tour bus. I mean, she's got 6 really great, talented musicians, and I'm co-opting them one by one. So by the end of the show, I have all 6 on stage with me. So, because good music, I think morphs is it's a good. The thing about music is that it's fluid. It can push and pull, and I mean that's really what I do. I don't have my arrangements are not that complicated, and my chord structure is not that complicated. It's really more about stopping and starting and coming in and surfing. It's more like surfing, like me and Gib Droll one of our best shows we ever did together. We were playing guitar. We were in the Hilton Head, and we just watched the documentary about Dogtown. And that was one of our best shows ever, because we felt like we were like carving, and we were like letting it fall and jumping in. You just kind of see the world. I mean, after doing thousands and thousands and thousands of shows, like me and Amy have probably done 3,000 to 4,000 shows a piece, at a whole nother Zen level, especially when we're doing the set list different every night and things are changing. So dynamics. That's really what makes and set list and reading the audience. And I don't use any set list ever. I just really kind of read the audience and 85% of the time I'm pretty right. And the 15% I'm not, I just call it art.
Okay.
You learn, you live, you learn.
You're talking about Amy Ray from the Indigo Girls, a local band from right here in Atlanta. Also, I've noticed a lot on your album, Think About It, that you've got half the band REM in there. You got Peter Buck, and then you have the drummer Bill Berry.
Yeah.
And I had thought that he was retired out of music for good.
Well, he's kind of he made a record with Mike Mantione called The Bad Ends. It's on New West Records. And so I work with David. I made this in Athens. So I'm using Athens musicians. The drummer Darren is from Athens. David Barbie is Athens. Brad Morgan from the Drive-By Truckers is from Athens. The string arrangements and all that, they're all Athens students and Athens musicians, except for my brother. He lives in Atlanta here with me. Not with me at Pine Lake. But Peter Buck was in town. We were doing a Cracker camp out, and Peter was playing, I was playing. I started this project like on one of those nights, the night before I played the Cracker camp out. And Peter was there, so Peter was like, hey, he's very fast. So he came in, and he was one of the first musicians on it. And then COVID hit, and then I couldn't get anybody back, and some people had to do it remotely. Peter couldn't do it remotely because he works out of Portland with Scott McCoy is his main guy, and everybody was just closed. So Bill Berry came in on the last one of the last things I did, and was like, because David Barbie had been working with him, and they're good friends, and so I don't know Bill as much as I know everybody else, and I think I know Michael more than I know Bill, but he's great. He plays all the percussion on it. It's a great vibe, and so that was cool. And Peter, of course, is really signature. He brought some of his REM guitars over, and his 12-string, and he has also got some of the later REM, like his EBO, the dissonant thing on the song called The Innocent, the Read Innocent Part 2 or whatever it is. So that's pretty much my career, is just taking advantage of whatever is laying around. I think that I learned my musical thing from my dad making dinner on Saturday nights. It's like, there's nothing to eat. And then, we have 5 kids in our family growing up. And, my dad would make, some sort of recipe, mashed potatoes inside the meatloaf, or he'd find something, he'd make something out of something. So that's kind of how I think my musical career has been, just kind of like, because I'm a bit, I'm not on a spectrum or anything like that, I don't think, but I have a very short attention span, and planning things out gets me stressed a little bit. So I kind of prefer to what's great about Drivin N Cryin is that it's great for me, but not great for the other guys. They don't know what song is coming next, and they have to know over 120 songs.
Oh, wow.
And they never know what song is coming next. I'm just feeling it, and I'll just start playing it. Like we did a song at the Variety that night called Light from a record we made on Geffen. We probably haven't played it in a year. And I just started playing it, and they know it. I just went, dun, 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 and they jumped in. I see the light. It was really great. So I'm blessed to surround myself with really quality people who know how to listen and don't get stressed out. Like, I don't know what, it's like, well, if you screw it up, it's music, it'll be okay.
Speaking of the new album, Think About It, isn't another Scarlet Butterfly, isn't that an old Drivin N Cryin song?
Yeah, it's from our first record. I wrote it. I might have even written it before the first. I might have tried to do it in my punk rock band in 1981, but I can't remember. But yeah, it is from our first record. And the lyrics just seem very topical to me. And Peter Buck came up with a really cool riff that was like lifted. I felt like it was a Patti Smith riff. So I called Lenny Kaye from the Patti Smith group. It was like, I played it to him over the phone. I was like, is this one of your riffs? It's like, he was like, I don't think it is, but I like it. So it's kind of a, I'm a huge Patti Smith fan. So it's a bit of a if you listen to the song Dancing Barefoot, it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
No, so it's very much like Dancing Barefoot.
It's a great song.
But, great, really great song. Or Ghost Dance and things like that. We shall live again. I like to reapproach certain songs. I reapproach The Innocent on there. I reapproach Scarlet Butterfly. I've reapproached Scarlet Smarter on my Flower and a Knife record I did with Warren Haynes. I'm not afraid to redo something, and maybe just as my voice has changed over. It was 38 years ago since I did that. I have a little bit lower voice now and things like that. So the whole record is me and my friend Eric Von Hessler, who made this documentary about me. He did this about Drivin N Cryin, but he's really smart and really he loves music. He texts me all the time, just like, have you heard this, whatever song, Paul McCartney or Crowded House song, or that's all we talk about is music. And so he had this podcast idea for us, and it was like Kevn Kinney. It's like 3 a.m. So that's kind of what this thing is like. I sing this whole record as if I'm singing to you in my apartment. And like when you live in an apartment, you can't just project at 3 a.m. You can't just like, has Scarlet Butterfly fades into the, it's like got neighbors, So the whole record is, I intentionally told David Barbie, I was like, I really want to keep this like really intimate and just really kind of like understated. Up until the credits would be the one with Bill Berry on it. That's the one I really kind of sing. I reimagined the first song, Think About It, to Stop, Look, Listen, Think About It. I bookended it, and that one is kind of like, it opens up a little bit. So I try to use a cinematic approach to music, when I do that, when I make records, I try to make it into a small movie these days, because I've made 19 or 20 albums, I don't know, and I want it to be an adventure for me that's interesting to talk about and to listen to,
Would you ever consider, or maybe have you already done, a score to a movie or TV show?
I toyed around with some, but usually, I did the Archer series. That was fun. I did one season of Archer when they had to change their name from ISIS because ISIS came, and so they had to become a different agency down in Miami, and they became like one of the characters became a country singer. So I wrote some songs for Shirlene and did some soundtracks for that. But I don't know. I've done things, but every time I try to do something, it always sounds like Ry Cooder or something. So I don't know. I'd rather they just use my songs. Just use them and sporadically use them or cut them up or take the vocals out or something like that. But I've never really tried to approach that yet. But I probably will later when I get done trying to travel. Right now I'm still able to travel. I'm getting up there, but I'm still, for another 10 years or so, I'll still be able to travel and play music.
Well, that's great. I'm a big movie and TV show fan, and I love soundtracks. What's it like to actually hear a song of yours in a movie or TV show?
I've only been on the Archer thing. It was cool. Well, I didn't sing any of it. It was all sung by Jessie Lynn Martin. And the fun one was we redid Danger Zone with Kenny Loggins. And so we got to talk with Kenny Loggins, and he re-sang Danger Zone in a country kind of thing with Shirlene, did a little duet with Shirlene. So that was fun. But I've never really been in a movie. I think I've had one song in if you watch Canadian Bacon in the first couple minutes of it, I think John Candy hits the radio and one of our songs comes on, because I ran into Michael Moore at a bar in Athens after he did a speech at the college. I gave him, I was like, I'm gonna give him all my records, and then he called me and was like, hey, Kevin, it's Michael Moore, and I got I need a song to use just for a little bit. Would you mind if I use that? I said, yeah, go, absolutely. So he used like a couple seconds of it. So that was kind of cool. He was a cool guy. I like Michael Moore. I haven't had very many. My wife is doing this song, this retrospect of my career at Over OEVRE over perspective of my career, and she's got almost 50 artists. It's called Let's Go Dancing. It's a collection of 50 artists doing my songs and reimagined. And there are some real, I can't really talk about it yet, but there's some real special songs on there that have been reimagined by some really cool artists that I think might wind up in movies and things like that. I think it's pretty cool. She's been working on it for a few years now. It was, so it was kind of a secret to me. So, but I, started hearing about it a little bit, here and there. So.
Is that going to be a documentary, an album? What exactly is it?
It's an album. It'll start streaming soon. I think the first ones will be in March sometime. So you'll start seeing it trickle out. I'm not sure what kind of publicists they have. Probably, I probably would err on the side of Steve. I like Steve. But we'll see what happens with that project. Yeah, someday maybe I'll hear my songs in a show or something. But I was excited the first time I ever heard myself on 96 Rock. That was pretty cool.
What song was that? Was it Fly Me Courageous?
It's probably Honeysuckle Blue. It was like the first one I think I heard on 96 Rock. Maybe Can't Promise You the World, but I don't know if that was on there. I don't think they played that one. So I didn't want to overthink it.
Is there a riff or another song you've heard another artist write that you wish you had written?
All the time, yeah. And I've probably stolen a little bit of them as we go. I tell you, REM is probably one of the most, Peter Buck is probably one of the most underrated guitar players. I think he's a top 5 guitar player in the world, personally. And that's not because I'm familiar with him as a friend and colleague, but I really think that the REM, I'm not sure who writes all the licks. I know he plays the licks, but like the opening to Feeling Gravity Pull, the opening to South Central Rain, the openings to One I Love, the opening. I mean, there's a lot of classic guitar riffs and all that stuff that I really love. He's very underrated. He should be always in the top 10 guitar players. They play. But because he plays rhythm guitar players don't get a lot of respect because they're not shredding all the freaking time. Mm-hmm. And, I don't like shredding. I don't, I'll do it for fun, but I'm really more of a melody. I like to write my solos, and like Leonard Skinner, when I was on tour with Skinner, thing I learned about Leonard Skinner touring with them is they really love the Beatles. They thought they were the Beatles. Like when they were rehearsing, they wanted their songs to be like the Beatles. Like when the Beatles play Rain, it's Rain. There's no extended jams for like the extended jam that Skinner has in Freebird is written. The solo for Saturday Night Special is written. That's what it is. I kind of liked that idea, of keeping, so it Can't Promise You the World. Now, when I have a guitar player, I always extend it for them to reimagine it, I mean, my guitar part is always the same melody. I like my guitar solos to be like I Can't Promise You the World. It's like da 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 da, like horn sections or something like that, So, but yeah, I'm jealous of just about anything Sabbath did, Tony Iommi, Jimmy Page, even But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great riffs out there, the Jack White, and I'm jealous constantly, Jane's Addiction had some great riffs and things like that, And Guns N' Roses, of course, had a lot of great licks. And like, oh, that's a great riff. I tried to steal one of those from The Sweet Child of Mine. I tried to steal that for the song called Wild Dog Moon. I kind of like, oh, this is gonna be my Slash tribute. That was in 1989. I don't even know if they had their record. I don't. Did they? I know.
Yeah,
Appetite came out in 1987, I think. 86. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. That was my my Slash tribute. But yeah, I love music. I'm a music fan. So, I mean, I listen to music constantly. And when we were out with the Black Crowes, it was really, I think, reconnecting with Rich and Chris was my favorite thing, was having them just kind of like as the tour ended and all that stuff, they were sending me playlists and turning me on to people. And in their part, they live on the West Coast. And so there's like all these great Pasadena bands that I had never heard of, the Lemon Twigs and all these people. And they're like, oh, did you ever hear of this guy? I'm like, no, I don't. So, I mean, I downloaded, 10 or 15 different artists that I'd never heard of that I have it now on my, they're like, it's called Disciples of Syd Barrett is the name of my playlist, because they're all kind of based on early Pink Floyd and, the early psychedelic movement. So.
Okay, so the Think About It tour, it's going to be at the 40 Watt in Athens, and then on Sunday, it's going to be at the Variety Playhouse. What other dates are you going to be doing besides that?
Every 3 months, I'm doing a show at Eddie's Attic. I'm doing 4 shows this year, kind of like a residency. And in April and May, I did this thing called free parking from this room here, from this very mic here during the pandemic. And I'm taking that to Nashville live, and I'm doing it at the East Side Bowl in Nashville in April and May. And I'll be broadcasting it on some sort of format. I'm not sure, but it's free to get in. It's $20 if you want to leave early. We're charging people to leave. If you stay for the whole thing, it's free. So, the sooner you leave, the more it costs. If you stay to the end, it's only like $3 to leave. So, trying to reinvent the wheel here, but see how that's working for me.
It's Kevn Kinney from Drivin N Cryin, also his solo work, Think About It tour, happening right now. Also pick up the album, Think About It. You can find out more about this at drivinncriyin.com. Kevn, it has been great talking with you today. I really, really appreciate everything.
Well, it's nice talking with you. Wish we had another 2 hours to rant, but...
Yeah, I could do that too, and I certainly appreciate everything, and best of luck to you this year.
Keep on keeping on, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.
Are you struggling to find the right home in these tough markets? Hi, I'm Jeffrey Drake of Drake Realty, with 7 offices across Metro Atlanta and 2 right here in Cobb County. The real estate market in Cobb County can be competitive. That's why you need a team on your side. My team of over 700 agents is one of the biggest in the county, and we have been turning dreams into realities for 28 years now. Next time you decide to buy or sell in Cobb, trust the team that knows the lay of the land. Visit us online at drakerealty.com.
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm adding to my Pinterest boards. There are so many great Pinterest ideas out there. I don't know which one to start first.
I know what you mean. That's why I made plans to go to the Georgia Pinners Conference at the Cobb Galleria on March 24th and 25th.
The Georgia Pinners Conference? What's that?
It's the one event where creative, passionate do-it-yourselfers go to attend classes taught by the best Pinterest presenters from all over the nation. There are over 100 classes showcasing the most popular Pinterest trends, and the best part is that you can make and complete your projects right then and there. Plus, there's over 200 vendors showcasing their new products for the year.
That sounds like something I definitely want to attend.
I know!
This is going to be so much fun.
The Georgia Pinners Conference, the Cobb Galleria, March 24th and 25th. Go to ga.pinnersconference.com to register and sign up for classes you're most interested in. But hurry, classes fill up fast. That's georgia.pinnersconference.com.
Thanks again for listening to today's Marietta Daily Journal podcast. Did you know that over 50% of Americans listen to podcasts weekly? Make sure you join us for our next episode, and be sure to share this podcast on social media with your friends and family. You can find us on TikTok at MDJ Podcast, and add us to your Alexa Flash Briefing or your Google Home Briefing, and be sure to like, follow, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
This podcast is a production of BG Ad Group. Darren Sutherland, Executive Producer. Doug Harding, Creative Director. Jacob Sutherland, Director. Producers Jason Gentarola and Matt Golden. And Jinrei Zhang, Video Producer. All rights reserved.